So last week we did 11.2, but if you remember, there is one little section at the bottom on 723 that we didn't get to cover yet, and that was the performing operations on radicals. So that's what we're going to wrap up today, is the last little bit of 11.2. So this week you're responsible for this little chunk of 11.2, and then 11.3 stuff will be this week. And probably looking at either at the very end of the week, most likely the beginning of next week, for a quiz on 11.2 and 11.3, most likely. Okay, so when we do sums and differences of radicals, okay, with this, we are looking at using like terms. Okay, so we have to follow the rule of like terms. So it has to basically have the same radical value. So by that, what I mean is, if we have something like 4 root 10 plus the square root of 13 minus 9 square root of 10, we can only do things that have like terms. So the only things that have like terms here is this 4 root 10 and this negative 9 root 10. Okay, that square root of 13 is going to be separate. So when we do our answer, we're going to have 4 root 10 minus 9 root 10. Now the stuff inside does not change. Okay, so 4 minus 9 is negative 5, so it's going to be negative 5 root 10 plus the square root of 13. And like I said, I can't add the stuff inside there. I can't combine these, okay, because those would not be like terms. So this would be the answer to that. And always make sure we can't pull anything out of these radicals. These are simplified down as far as possible, so in this case we're good. But make sure you do pay attention to that. Now, something like, so this is one example, 2 root 7 plus 3 root 63. Okay, with something like this, it looks like we don't need to do anything here. It looks like that's just it. And that's all we have, because we can't combine those because they're not like terms. But what we need to look at is we need to evaluate this 63 here and see if we can pull anything out. So remember to make your little factor tree here. 63, one of the factors is 9 times 7. 9 is 3 times 3. Since there's 2 of those, I can pull out a 3. So this would be 2 root 7 plus 3 times, I pulled out a 3, root 7 is what's left. So then this is 9, so 2 root 7 plus 9 root 7. Now these are like terms, so 2 plus 9 is 11 root 7 would be our answer for that. Alright, so that would be that one. So those are 2 examples. So now let's go through and actually look at some homework examples here for that. So start with something a little easier, like 35. Or not 35, I don't know why I said 34. There we go. Leave the odd ones for you guys. So 2 root 2 plus 6 root 2. So, and I think it's good to underline things with like terms, especially when you get things that have a lot more in them. Okay, so we have 2 root 2 and 6 root 2. So adding those two together, 2 plus 6 is 8, and we leave the square root of 2 alone. Let's see. 36. 2 root 6 minus 5 root 54. So here, well, 6 is just 2 times 3, so I can't simplify that down anymore, so I'll leave it. 54, let's try to split it up. So 54 is 9 times 6, I believe. 9 is 3 times 3, 6 is 2 times 3, so that can't be broken up, but there's 2 3's here, meaning I can pull a 3 out, so I can rewrite this as 2 root 6 minus 5 times that 3 being pulled out, root 6 is what's left over. So 2 root 6 minus 5 times 3 is 15, root 6. Now these are like terms, so I can combine them. So 2 minus 15 is negative 13 root 6. Okay, so hopefully you're starting to kind of see the patterns here. 38. Excuse me. Number 38, we have the square root of 12 plus 6 square root of 3 plus 2 square root of 6. Alright, so right now I have no like terms. Square root of 3, that's as simple as it can get. We already said the square root of 6 is as simple as it can get. So the only thing I might be able to break up here is this 12. So 12 breaks into 2 times 6. 6 is 2 times 3. So now I have 2 2, so I can pull out a 2, and I'm left with a 3 inside. So this is going to be 2 root 3 plus 6 times the square root of 3 plus 2 times the square root of 6. So now, combining like terms, these are my like terms, because that one's different because it's the square root of 6. So 2 plus 6 is 8, so 8 square root of 3 plus 2 square root of 6 would be the answer for this one. So this one ends up still being, in 2 pieces here, okay, but we can't combine them because that square root of 3 and square root of 6 are not like terms. All right, 40 going to be our next one. I'm going to try to just do it over here on this one piece of paper. So 40 is the square root of 5 and then times, so this is in parentheses, 5 minus the square root of 5. Okay, so hopefully you remember back to all the way last year probably with stuff Mr. Cass did with you, and you remember the distributive property. Okay, we have this 5 outside, needs to go to both pieces inside, so it needs to go to both pieces. So we have the square root of 5 times 5 is just 5 square root of 5 minus, because this is a negative sign here, the square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is the square root of 25, and we know that the square root of 25 is 5, so 5 square root of 5 minus 5 is what we're left with for that one. Okay, so that one doesn't actually involve adding anything because we have no like terms here. Let's try 42. All right, 42 is the square root of 3 times 6 square root of 2 minus 4 square root of 3. All right, well, I can't combine this stuff inside yet. All of the radicals are simplified as much as possible, so I can't break out anything. But I'm going to distribute again to both pieces. So this is the square root of 3 times 6 square root of 2. Okay, so the 6 we just copy down because there's nothing outside. Now the square root of 3 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 3 times 2. Okay, or 6 square root of 6 minus 4 There's nothing outside, so 4 times the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 would be minus 4 square root of 9. We know that the square root of 9 is 3, so 6 square root of 6 minus 4 times 3, and that should all be in parentheses there, so we keep it together. 6 root 6 minus 12 is your answer for this one. So your homework, out of what's left here, is 35 through 41 odd. Okay, we've done the even one, so, oops, sorry. So if you have questions, remember, let me know. Y'all did pretty good at submitting your homework this past week on time and everything, and so that helps me out a lot to be able to grade it, so I appreciate you guys adjusting to Google Classroom really well for me. So hopefully I'll get 11.3 out to you at least by tomorrow for the notes, and then we'll do a separate worksheet video for you as well.